Silver light explodes from her skin like a star going supernova. Seraphina Wright stands in the center of the ritual chamber, arms outstretched, head thrown back, mouth open in a scream that never comes. The power flooding through her veins burns hotter than anything she's ever felt. Hotter than shame, hotter than rejection, hotter than the poverty that drove her here. The light pours from every inch of exposed flesh. Her pale skin, already ghost white from albinism, now glows like polished moonstone. Her hair, platinum blonde and wild, floats around her head as if she's underwater. And her eyes? Her eyes have gone completely white. No iris, no pupil. Just pure, luminous silver, like someone replaced her eyeballs with mirrors that reflect only the moon itself. 9 vampire lords surround her in a perfect circle. Each one has dropped to their knees, heads bowed, hands pressed flat against the cold stone floor. Even the most ancient among them, the ones who've walked this earth for 8 centuries, kneel before her like supplicants at an altar. The moon blessed oracle. The voice comes from directly in front of her. Deep, controlled, touched with an accent that predates modern Russia. We thought your kind extinct. Seraphina's head snaps down, her glowing eyes fix on the man who spoke. Nikolai Volkov, the one who bought her. The one who paid $60 million for the right to own her body for 1 year. He's kneeling like the others, but his winter storm eyes are wide with something that looks like terror mixed with reverence. His platinum blonde hair falls past his shoulders, catching the silver light pouring from her skin. He's beautiful in the way that dangerous things are beautiful. Sharp edges, perfect symmetry, too flawless to be human. None of them are human. The words come out of Seraphina's mouth, but they're not hers. The voice is layered, echoing, as if 1,000 women are speaking through her at once. I am the last, she says, and the chamber trembles. Dust rains from the vaulted ceiling. You will claim me tonight, all 9 of you, or your bloodline dies with the rising sun. The light intensifies. Seraphina feels herself lifting off the ground, her bare feet leaving the stone floor. The power wants out. It's been sleeping inside her for 23 years, coiled tight like a spring, and now someone's cut the cord. She's terrifying. She's magnificent. She's everything she never knew she could be. And she has absolutely no idea how she got here. Before we dive into how a cursed outcast from rural Tennessee became the most powerful oracle in 300 years, comment where in the world you're watching from, and don't forget to click subscribe. This is a story about transformation, about being broken apart and remade into something stronger, about 9 immortal predators who thought they were buying a victim and instead found their queen. Now let me take you back to where it started. Back to 48 hours before the awakening, when Seraphina Wright was still just a desperate girl trying to save the only family she had left. The auction house smells like old money and older blood. Seraphina stands on a raised marble platform in the center of a cavernous hall, and she's never felt more naked in her life. Technically, she's wearing clothes, a white silk dress that the auction house provided fitted perfectly to her body, thin enough that everyone in the room can see exactly what they're bidding on. But clothes don't matter when 200 pairs of eyes are studying you like you're a piece of meat hung up for sale, because that's exactly what she is. Silver chains connect her wrists to a hook embedded in the platform above her head. The position forces her to stand with her arms raised, back arched, chest thrust forward. Everything on display, everything available for inspection. The chandeliers overhead cast crystalline light that scatters across the marble floor below. The crowd sits in tiered seating that rises up on all sides, creating an amphitheater effect. Like a Roman Colosseum, except instead of gladiators fighting to the death, it's girls like her being sold to monsters. Because they are monsters. She can tell now, even though she couldn't have explained how she knows. There's something wrong with every person in this room. They move too smoothly, hold themselves too still. Their eyes catch the light in ways that human eyes shouldn't. Vampires, all of them. The auctioneer stands at a podium off to her left. He's human, she can tell, because his heart beats loud enough that she can hear it from here, a steady drum that counterpoints her own racing pulse. He's been doing this for years, she guesses, selling people to vampires. His voice carries through the hall with practiced ease, not quite bored, but not exactly enthusiastic either. 23 years old, he announces, consulting his tablet. Virginity medically verified, blood type O negative universal donor, no significant health issues. And as you can clearly see, gentlemen and ladies, extremely rare phenotype. He says it clinically, but Seraphina knows what he means. Albinism. She's had it her whole life. White blonde hair that looks like starlight. Skin so pale it's almost translucent. Eyes that are technically blue, but look violet in certain lighting. Back in her hometown in Tennessee, they called her Ghost Girl. Cursed. Touched by death. Kids threw rocks at her in elementary school. Adults crossed the street to avoid her. Even the ones who didn't believe in curses still treated her like something contaminated. The only person who never looked at her like she was broken was Theron, her little brother, 16 years old and dying of leukemia. That's why she's here. That's why she signed the contract 3 weeks ago, selling herself to the highest bidder for 1 year of service. The experimental CAR T-cell therapy that might save Theron's life cost $1.2 million. Their health insurance won't cover it. Their parents died 5 years ago in a car accident, leaving exactly $14,000 in life insurance and a mortgage they couldn't afford. So Serafina did what she had to do. She found the people who buy and sell bodies in the dark corners of the world, and she offered them the only thing of value she had left, herself. The bidding starts at $500,000, the auctioneer says. His voice snaps her back to the present. Do I hear 500,000? A paddle raises in the third row. Man in an expensive suit, dark hair, handsome in a way that makes her skin crawl. 500,000 to bidder 73, the auctioneer confirms. Do I hear 6? Another paddle. Woman this time, blonde, gorgeous, smile that promises both pleasure and pain. The bids climb fast. 7, 8, 9. Serafina stops trying to track the numbers. They're meaningless anyway. Whether she goes for $500,000 or $5 million, the result is the same. 1 year of her life given to whoever pays the most. 2 million, someone calls out. Male voice, thick accent, Russian maybe. The crowd murmurs. That's a significant jump. $5 million, someone says, and this time the entire room falls silent. Serafina's eyes find the speaker. He's sitting in the back corner of the hall, separate from the main crowd. Tall enough that even seated, he dominates the space around him. Platinum blonde hair that falls past his shoulders. Features so perfect they look carved from marble. When his eyes meet hers across the distance, she feels something electric shoot down her spine. His eyes are the color of winter storms. Gray like steel. Cold like ice. Old in a way that has nothing to do with age and everything to do with how many years he's been alive. Ancient, that's the word that comes to mind. This vampire is ancient. 6 million. 10 million. The platinum-haired vampire doesn't even blink. Gasps ripple through the crowd. 15. A woman this time. Black hair, red lips, curves that could stop with traffic. 20 million, the dark-haired man counters. The platinum vampire stands. Everyone in the room turns to look at him. He's taller than she thought, over 6 feet easily. He moves with liquid grace, stepping into the aisle, his eyes never leaving Serafina's face. $50 million, he says. His voice carries through the hall without being raised. Pure command, pure authority. And I'll add 10 million more to ensure there are no further bids. Silence. Complete and total silence. The auctioneer's hand hovers over his gavel. 50, $60 million total from bidder 12. That's $60 million, ladies and gentlemen. Do I hear any counter offers? No one speaks. No one moves. The gavel falls with a sharp crack that echoes through the hall like a gunshot. Sold. $60 million to bidder 12. Serafina's knees buckle. $60 million. Someone just paid $60 million for the right to own her for 1 year. Guards appear at her sides, immediately unhooking her chains, wrapping a robe around her shoulders. They guide her off the platform and through a side door into a private room. Everything happens fast. Too fast. The private room is smaller. Elegant. Leather furniture. Dark wood paneling. A desk where 2 lawyers sit with thick stacks of paper. The door opens behind her and she doesn't need to turn around to know who just entered. She can feel him. His presence fills the room like a physical force. Leave us, he commands. The lawyers scramble to comply. The guards follow. Within seconds, Serafina is alone with the vampire who just bought her. She turns slowly. He stands by the window, his back to her, looking out at the New Orleans night. The French Quarter glitters beyond the glass. You paid $60 million for me, she says. Her voice comes out steadier than she expected. He turns to face her. Up close, his beauty is almost painful to look at. Every feature perfectly symmetrical. Skin smooth and pale. But it's his eyes that hold her attention. Those winter storm eyes that look like they've seen empires rise and fall. I paid $60 million to prevent what the others would have done to you, he corrects. His accent is definitely Russian, but old Russian. My name is Nikolai Volkov. I am very old, very powerful, and very much not human. Vampire, she says, not a question. Vampire, he confirms. Specifically, I am the head of the Volkov Coven. We control the Gulf Coast territories from Texas to Florida. We are one of the 5 great vampire houses in North America, and you, Serafina Wright, just became our property. The way he says her name sends chills down her spine. The auction house told me I'd serve one master, she says, pulling the robe tighter around herself. One vampire for 1 year. That was the contract. The auction house lied. Nikolai moves closer. Or perhaps they simply didn't know. The Volkov Coven operates under ancient law. When one of us claims a human, all of us share that claim. It's how we maintain unity, how we prevent conflicts over resources. The words hit her like ice water. All of you, there are 9 of us, Nikolai says, 9 lords of the Volkov Coven, and tonight all 9 of us will claim you. Serafina takes a step back. Her back hits the wall. 9, you expect me to, serve all of us, yes. He tilts his head, studying her. The claiming ritual must be completed in a specific way. Each of us will take you one after another, creating the bond that binds you to our bloodline. It will be intense. It will push your body to its absolute limits. But you will survive it. Her hands shake. 9 vampires, 9 immortal predators, all of them using her body in one night. I can't, she whispers. I've never even been with one man, let alone 9. I know. Nikolai's expression softens slightly. Your virginity is precisely why you're valuable to us. A virgin's first time with a vampire creates a bond that lasts for centuries. Pure bloodlines bind stronger tastes, sweeter, connect deeper. He takes another step toward her, close enough now that she can smell him. Pine forests, winter storms, old blood. You have a choice, he says quietly. You can refuse. I'll return you to the auction house tonight. They'll resell you tomorrow to someone else, someone who won't care about your comfort or your survival. He pauses. Or you can trust me. We will push your body to its limits tonight. We will take everything you have to give and then demand more. But we won't break you. That's a promise I've kept for 800 years. 800 years. This vampire is older than the United States itself. My brother, Serafina says. Theron, the money for his treatment has already been transferred, Nikolai interrupts. $1.2 million to Vanderbilt Medical Center in Nashville. His CAR T-cell therapy begins tomorrow morning regardless of what you decide right now. Her eyes burn. Theron is saved. Whatever happens next, Theron gets to live. What happens if I agree? Tonight, the 9 of us claim you. We create the bond. It will hurt. You'll beg us to stop. You'll cry and scream and curse us. But by dawn, you'll belong to us completely. Body, mind, and soul. He moves even closer. Close enough that she has to tilt her head back to maintain eye contact. After tonight, you're protected. No vampire in the world will dare touch you without our permission. You'll live in our estate. You'll want for nothing. And when your year is complete, you'll be free to go with enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. And if I say no, then you go back to the auction house. His winter eyes hold hers, and I wash my hands of whatever happens next. At least Nikolai is being honest with her. At least he's giving her a choice, even if both options are terrible. She thinks of Theron in his hospital bed, 16 years old, too young to die. She thinks of herself, 23 years old, virgin, cursed, ghost girl, the freak that no one wanted. Maybe being wanted even like this is better than a lifetime of being rejected. I have conditions, she hears herself say. Nikolai's eyebrows rise. Do you, boss? I'll submit to the claiming. I'll serve all 9 of you for the contracted year, but in return, I want training. The words come faster now, more confident. Combat training, political education. Don't just use me like an object. Make me useful. Teach me to be more than just a body. Silence. Nikolai studies her for a long moment. Then impossibly he smiles. It's a small smile, barely there. But it transforms his face from coldly beautiful to something almost warm. Smart, he says, very smart. You're negotiating for agency, for value beyond the physical. Do we have a deal? We have a deal. He extends his hand. Come willingly, Serafina, and I promise you'll be more than just a thrall by the time your year ends. You might even become something extraordinary. She looks at his outstretched hand, pale, long-fingered, cold. This is it. The moment everything changes. She takes his hand. His skin is ice cold, but his grip is gentle as he pulls her close. Good girl, he murmurs against her hair. Now let me show you what it means to belong to us. The car ride to the Volkov estate takes 40 minutes. Serafina sits in the back of a black Mercedes. Nikolai sits beside her, silent, giving her space to process. She stares out the window, watching New Orleans blur past. The French Quarter gives way to Garden District mansions, which give way to suburbs, which give way to rural Louisiana darkness. The gates appear without warning, iron, massive, easily 20 feet tall. They swing open as the Mercedes approaches. Beyond them, a driveway stretches into darkness lined with ancient oak trees whose branches create a tunnel overhead. The mansion rises from the night like something out of a Gothic novel. 3 stories of gray stone, pointed arches, gargoyles perched on the corners, windows that glow with warm light from within. The car stops at the main entrance. Nikolai opens her door, personally extending his hand to help her out. 500 acres, Nikolai says, gesturing to the darkness beyond the mansion. All Volkov territory, no neighbors for miles in any direction, no one to hear you scream. He says it matter-of-factly, not like a threat, just a statement of fact. The front doors open before they reach them. A woman stands in the entrance, elderly, human. She wears a simple black dress and regards Serafina with kind eyes. Miss Wright, she says with a slight southern accent. Welcome to Volkov House. I'm Margaret. I manage the household staff. If you need anything during your stay, you need only ask. Thank you, Serafina manages. Inside the mansion is even more impressive. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork that looks like it belongs in museums. 800 years of collecting wealth and beauty and power. Nikolai guides her through corridors and up a sweeping staircase. 2nd floor, 3rd floor, then down a hallway to a set of double doors that look like they're made from solid oak. The claiming room, he says, pushing the doors open. The room beyond steals her breath. It's enormous. Cathedral ceilings, a bed in the center that's bigger than her entire bedroom back home. Black silk sheets, candles everywhere, hundreds of them, casting flickering golden light across stone walls. And overhead, a skylight that shows the night sky above. The moon hangs heavy and full, visible through the glass. Full moon, of course it's a full moon. 8 figures wait in the room. They stand in a semicircle around the bed, and when Serafina enters, all 8 turn to look at her. She recognizes 2 of them from the auction. The dark-haired man with golden eyes, the beautiful woman with the honey voice, but the others are new. Serafina Wright, Nikolai says, his hand on her lower back, guiding her into the room. Meet your new family. He gestures to each vampire in turn. Dmitry Volkov, the dark-haired man with golden eyes. He looks at her like he's imagining all the ways he could break her. 750 years old and warrior caste. He's killed more enemies than most armies. Dmitry doesn't smile, just nods once. Katerina Volkov, the honey-voiced woman, black hair, red lips, curves that belong in a painting. 680 years old, former courtier in the Byzantine Empire. She knows more about politics and manipulation than anyone I've ever met. Katerina smiles. It's a predator's smile. Pleasure to meet you, sweet girl. Mikhail Volkov, a man with scars crisscrossing his face and arms, built like a soldier. 720 years old, general in the Russian army before I turned. He'll be leading your combat training. Mikhail studies her with professional interest. Anastasia Volkov, a woman with silver hair that cascades to her waist. Delicate features, eyes the color of moonlight. 650 years old, artist, painter specifically. She's created works that hang in the Louvre under assumed names. Anastasia's smile is gentler than the others, almost kind. Ivan Volkov, a man so massive he makes Dmitry look small, over 7 feet tall, shoulders like a linebacker. 800 years old, same age as me. We turned together during the Mongol invasion. Ivan's expression is surprisingly gentle for someone who looks like he was carved from granite. Svetlana Volkov, a woman with ice blonde hair and sharp features, beautiful in a cold, untouchable way. 700 years old, mathematician, strategist. If you need to know the odds of something, ask Svetlana. Svetlana doesn't smile, just regards Serafina with calculating eyes. Alexei Volkov, a man who looks barely out of his 20s, dark hair, thoughtful eyes. He holds a book in one hand, finger marking his place. 600 years old, youngest of us. Philosopher by nature. He'll either bore you with stoic philosophy or surprise you with unexpected wisdom. Alexei offers a small smile. Probably both. And Natasha Volkov, the last woman, wild dark hair, eyes that burn with intensity. She looks at Serafina like she's already imagining the taste of her. 690 years old, huntress, tracker. If something needs to be found, Natasha finds it. Natasha licks her lips, slow, deliberate. 9 of us, Nikolai says, bound by blood and centuries of fighting beside each other. And now bound to you. Serafina stands in the center of them, feeling their eyes on her from every direction. 9 ancient predators, 9 vampires who've lived through centuries of history, and they're all about to claim her. I should explain something, Nikolai continues, moving to stand beside the bed. The bond we're about to create isn't just physical. When a vampire claims a human, especially during a virgin's first time, it creates a metaphysical connection. You'll be able to sense us, feel our emotions, know our locations, and we'll feel you. He gestures to the others. With 9 of us claiming you in one night, that bond will be 9 times stronger. By dawn, you won't be able to hide anything from us, and we won't be able to hide anything from you. That sounds terrifying, Serafina whispers. It is, Katerina says, moving closer. But it's also beautiful. You'll never be alone again. Ever. No matter where you are, you'll have 9 immortal beings connected to your soul. Strip, Svetlana's voice cuts through the room, cold, clinical. We need to see what we're working with. Serafina's hands shake as she reaches for the belt of her robe. This is it. No more delays. She lets the robe fall to the floor. Underneath, she's still wearing the white silk dress from the auction, but it's so thin it barely counts as clothing. The reaction is immediate. 8 pairs of eyes, 9 counting. Nikolai track every inch of exposed skin. Perfection, Mikhail breathes. Absolutely exquisite, Anastasia agrees. Dmitri makes a sound low in his throat. Not quite a growl, not quite a purr. Hunger-given voice. Nikolai approaches her slowly. Do you know why virgins are so valuable to our kind? Serafina shakes her head. Because the first time we take you, we taste your innocence. It's like the finest wine, rare, irreplaceable, sacred. And because your body will learn pleasure from us, we'll train you to crave exactly what we give. We'll map every sensitive spot, every trigger, every response. His hand lifts to her face, fingers trailing along her jaw. Tonight we'll break you open, Serafina. 9 of us will have you one after another, teaching your body to respond to vampire touch. By dawn, you'll be ours completely. I don't know if I can do this, she whispers. You can. Anastasia steps forward, delicate fingers tilting Serafina's chin up. You will, because we won't give you a choice. And because part of you is already curious, isn't it? Already wondering what it will feel like when we touch you. She's right, and Serafina hates that she's right. Beneath the terror, beneath the shame, there's something else. Heat, curiosity, want. These creatures are designed to be irresistible. Their beauty, their power, their absolute confidence. Her body responds even as her mind screams danger. On the bed, Nikolai commands. Face up, arms above your head. Serafina climbs onto the silk sheets. The fabric is cool against her overheated skin. She lies back, stretching her arms overhead, feeling impossibly vulnerable. Dmitri moves to the headboard. Silk restraints appear in his hands. He secures her wrists with efficient movements, not tight enough to hurt, but tight enough that she can't escape. Why tie me up? Because Ivan says his massive frame approaching the bed, by the 4th or 5th vampire, you'll be so overwhelmed you'll try to run. This keeps you exactly where you need to be. Katerina climbs onto the bed beside her, moving with feline grace. First, we prepare you, make you wet and ready for what's coming. Her fingers trace patterns on Serafina's stomach through the thin silk, barely touching, teasing. And Serafina feels sparks shoot straight to her core. Vampire touch is different, electric. It sends sensation cascading through her nervous system in ways that normal touch never could. She arches involuntarily, her body seeking more contact. That's it, Katerina purrs. Your body already knows what it needs. More hands join in. Anastasia on her ribs, Natasha on her thighs, Svetlana tangling fingers in her hair. They map every inch of her, learning her responses, finding the places that make her gasp or whimper or arch. Nikolai watches from beside the bed, his winter storm eyes tracking every reaction. She's responsive. Excellent. This will be far more enjoyable than I anticipated. Mikhail's hand slides higher on her inner thigh, pushing aside the silk. His fingers find her center, and his eyes widen. She's already soaked. Serafina wants to deny it, but her body betrays her. She's dripping wet, desperate for touch she's never experienced. Please, the word escapes before she can stop it. Please what? Dmitri leans over her, golden eyes glowing. Please stop. Please continue. Use your words, little human. I don't know, tears gather in her eyes. I don't know what I need. Then let us show you, Nikolai says, and the claiming begins. Katerina moves down Serafina's body with practiced grace, settling between trembling thighs. Her dark hair falls like a curtain, hiding what she's about to do. Last chance to back out, she says, though her smile suggests she knows Serafina won't. After this, you're ours. No going back. Serafina's whole body trembles. She thinks of Theron in that hospital bed. She thinks of the $1.2 million already transferred. She thinks of how she has no other choice. She nods. Good girl, Katerina whispers. And then her mouth is on Serafina's most intimate place and the world explodes into sensation. Serafina has touched herself before. Curious fingers in the dark. But this is different. Katerina's tongue moves with centuries of practice, finding spots Serafina didn't know existed, building pleasure so intense it borders on pain. Oh God. Serafina's hips buck involuntarily. Oh God, oh God. The others hold her down, hands firm on her hips, her thighs, her arms, not letting her escape the overwhelming sensation. Katerina works her with relentless precision, bringing her higher and higher until Serafina is sobbing. The first release crashes through her like a tidal wave. Her back arches off the bed. Her vision whites out. Every muscle in her body convulses against the restraints. That's one, Nikolai says from somewhere above her. Just the beginning. Katerina doesn't stop. She keeps going, tongue and fingers working in tandem, pushing inside where nothing has ever been before. The stretch burns, but Katerina's other hand finds a sensitive spot that makes the burn turn to desperate need. The second climax hits even harder. Serafina screams, her whole body shaking. Beautiful! Anastasia breathes, stroking Serafina's tear-stained cheeks. You're doing so well. Another vampire takes Katerina's place. Anastasia this time gentler, but no less devastating. Then Natasha, who is neither gentle nor patient. Then Svetlana, clinical and methodical. Each one brings their own technique, their own centuries of knowledge. By the time they're done preparing her, Serafina has lost count of how many times she's shattered. Her body is hypersensitive, every nerve ending, firing slick with arousal and trembling with exhaustion. Now, Nikolai says, climbing onto the bed, now you're ready for the actual claiming. He positions himself between her thighs and Serafina feels the overwhelming presence of his arousal. Vampires are built differently than human men. Larger, impossibly firm, designed in ways that promise either agony or ecstasy. This will hurt, Nikolai says honestly, settling his weight over her. His winter eyes lock onto hers. You're a virgin and I'm not small, but I'll go slowly. The bond we form will make the pain worth it. He positions himself at her entrance. Serafina feels the broad pressure, the impossible stretch. Every instinct screams to pull away. The restraints keep her exactly where she is. Breathe, Nikolai commands. Let your body accept this. He pushes forward. Serafina feels herself tearing, feels the burn of being opened too wide, too fast. A cry tears from her throat and Dmitri's hand clamps over her mouth. Scream all you want, Dmitri murmurs against her ear, but don't call for help. There's no one coming to save you. Nikolai keeps pushing, inexorable, until he's fully seated inside her. Serafina has never felt so full, so stretched, so completely owned. Tears stream down her face. There, Nikolai's voice is strained. You've taken your first vampire. The hardest part is over. He begins to move, long, slow strokes that make Serafina feel every ridge, every inch of him. The pain doesn't fade immediately, but something else starts creeping in. Not quite pleasure, not yet, but the promise of it. Her body is adjusting, learning, adapting to him. That's my girl, Nikolai praises, his hips moving in steady rhythm. Your body knows what it's made for. He moves faster, deeper, and despite everything, despite the pain and fear, Serafina feels something building inside her again. No, she gasps against Dmitri's hand. I can't, not again. You will, Nikolai promises. His hand slides between their bodies, finding that sensitive spot. The climax tears through her with brutal intensity. Different this time, deeper, more consuming. As she clenches around Nikolai, she feels him follow, feels the cold rush of his release filling her. Something snaps into place like a thread connecting her heart to his. The bond. She can feel it forming, delicate but undeniable. Nikolai withdraws carefully. One down, he says, moving aside. 8 to go. Before Serafina can catch her breath, Dmitri takes Nikolai's place. His golden eyes gleam with barely controlled violence as he positions himself. No gentleness, no patience. He thrusts home in one brutal stroke that drives the air from her lungs. Serafina screams. Even though she's no longer a virgin, even though Nikolai stretched her, Dmitri feels impossibly larger. He pounds into her with vampire strength, each thrust jarring, overwhelming. Take it, he snarls against her neck. This is what you signed up for. His hands grip her hips hard enough to bruise. His mouth finds her throat, teeth scraping but not biting. Not yet. She's crying, Anastasia observes. Good. Dmitri's rhythm doesn't slow. Tears look beautiful on her. He drives into her relentlessly, using her body for his pleasure, pushing her past the point of overwhelming into something almost transcendent. Serafina stops fighting, stops thinking, just feels. And somewhere in that surrender, pleasure blooms again. Dark and twisted and undeniable. Dmitri notices immediately. His savage smile shows fangs. That's it. Give yourself to us. When he finishes spilling cold inside her, Serafina is a trembling wreck. 2 vampires down, 7 more to go. Please, she sobs as Mikhail approaches. I can't take more. You can, Mikhail says, his scarred face surprisingly gentle. And you will. He enters her with clinical precision, studying her reactions, adjusting his angle until he finds spots that make her gasp and clench involuntarily. He's methodical where Dmitri was brutal, breaking her down with calculated pleasure. 3. Anastasia comes next. Smaller than the males, but no less demanding. She rides Serafina with graceful movements, teaching her that vampire women can take as thoroughly as the men. 4. Ivan nearly breaks her. His massive size stretches her impossibly wide, but his hands are surprisingly gentle, holding her steady as he fills her completely. He murmurs soft words in Old Russian praise mixed with possession. 5. Svetlana is cold in every way. Her touch, her rhythm, her eyes. She takes her pleasure without caring about Serafina's, using her body like a beautiful object. 6. Alexei is almost tender after Svetlana's coldness. He kisses her, murmurs philosophical observations about pleasure and pain, makes her feel almost cherished. 7. Natasha is hungry in a way that frightens Serafina. She devours her, consuming every gasp and moan, pushing her through multiple releases. Wild, primal, intense. 8. By the time Katerina returns for her turn, Serafina is beyond thought. Her body has become a vessel for sensation, pleasure, and pain indistinguishable. She's so sensitive that every touch feels like fire and ice at once. My body can't take more, she begs weakly. One more, Katerina promises, positioning herself with implements Serafina's exhausted mind can't quite process. Just one more, sweet girl, then you're truly ours. She enters Serafina with agonizing slowness, savoring every inch, every whimper. And somehow, impossibly, Serafina feels pleasure building again. You're remarkable, Katerina breathes. 9 vampires and your body still responds. She moves with sensual grace, drawing out Serafina's final release with expert precision. When they both shatter, Katerina bites down gently on Serafina's shoulder. Not drinking, just marking, sealing the bond. Done, Nikolai announces. She survived the claiming. Hands release Serafina's restraints. Her arms fall limply to her sides. She's covered in marks filled with the essence of 9 vampires trembling with exhaustion. But alive. Nikolai gathers her against his chest, pulling her away from the ruined silk sheets. You were perfect, he murmurs. Absolutely perfect. Serafina tries to speak but manages only a whimper. Her body throbs, aches, burns. Every muscle feels liquefied. Rest now, Nikolai commands, and vampire compulsion wraps around the words like a warm blanket. When you wake, the bond will be complete. You'll belong to us forever. Serafina's eyes drift closed. Her last thought before darkness claims her is that she survived. 9 vampires one night. She survived. Serafina wakes to silk sheets and the soft glow of morning light filtering through heavy curtains. Her body aches everywhere, deep soreness that comes from being thoroughly used. But it's not unbearable. Just a constant reminder of what happened. She sits up slowly, wincing. The room is different than the claiming chamber. Smaller, more intimate. A bedroom decorated in dark blues and silvers. She's alone except for Nikolai, who sits in a chair by the window watching dawn break. He hasn't changed clothes. Has he been watching her sleep all night? How do you feel? His winter storm eyes study her carefully. Like I was run over by a truck. Serafina's voice is hoarse from screaming. Then the truck backed up and did it again. A smile ghosts across his perfect features. That's fairly accurate. You took 9 vampires last night. Your body will need time to adjust. He stands moving to the bed. In his hands is a glass filled with dark liquid that definitely isn't water. Serafina recoils. Is that blood? Vampire wine, Nikolai explains. Blood mixed with restorative compounds. It will help you heal faster. Without it, you'll be in significant pain for days. She takes the glass with shaking hands. It tastes like nothing she's experienced before. Rich, complex, with an aftertaste that makes her skin tingle. Within seconds, the worst of the soreness fades to a manageable ache. What happens now, she asks. Now you rest, heal, learn what it means to belong to us. Nikolai settles onto the edge of the bed. The bond is forming. You'll start to feel it in a few days, a connection to each of us. Our emotions, our locations, our needs. Serafina looks down at her body. Bite marks cover her skin, though they're already fading. Bruises shaped like handprints decorate her hips, her thighs. My brother, she says suddenly. Theron, the money did it really go through? Nikolai pulls out his phone, shows her bank transfers and medical facility confirmations. Every cent, plus an additional $1 million for his long-term care and college education. He's receiving the best treatment money can buy at Vanderbilt. You kept your end of the bargain. We'll keep ours. Tears well in Serafina's eyes. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Nikolai's expression grows serious. You survived one night, but you belong to 9 vampires now. We'll want you again. Not constantly like last night, but regularly. Your body will never truly be your own for the next year. He stands moving toward the door. Rest today. Tomorrow your real education begins. You ask for training, combat, strategy, politics. You'll get it, but you'll also learn to serve us properly, to anticipate our needs, to exist within our world. The door closes behind him, leaving Serafina alone with the reality of what she's become. A vampire's thrall, bonded to 9 of them, forever changed. She lies back against the silk pillows, feeling faint echoes of something strange in her mind, like whispers at the edge of hearing. The bond Nikolai described. Somewhere in this massive estate, 9 vampires are going about their immortal routines, and she's connected to all of them now. A knock at the door interrupts her thoughts. Come in, she calls. The elderly woman from last night enters, carrying a tray laden with food. Margaret, she sets it on the bedside table with practiced efficiency. Good morning, Miss Wright. I thought you might be hungry. You've had quite an ordeal. The understatement makes Serafina want to laugh hysterically. Thank you, she manages. Margaret's kind eyes study her. I've worked for the Volkovs for 40 years. I've seen many thralls come through these doors. Most don't survive the first claiming with their spirit intact. But you're different. I can see it. How cool. You negotiated, you demanded training, you made them see you as more than just a body. Margaret straightens the covers. That takes courage, intelligence, the kind of strength that impresses vampires. She moves toward the door, then pauses. They're not cruel, the Volkovs. Demanding, yes, ancient and powerful and sometimes frightening, but not needlessly cruel. Serve them well and they'll protect you fiercely. After Margaret leaves, Serafina picks at the food, fresh fruit, pastries, eggs cooked perfectly. She eats slowly, her mind processing everything. 1 year, 365 days of belonging to 9 vampires. The bond whispers at the edge of her consciousness. She focuses on it, trying to understand what she's feeling. There, that's Nikolai, cool and controlled somewhere below her. In his study, perhaps. And that warmer presence must be Yvonne, steady and solid. She can feel them. All 9, like stars in her personal constellation, always visible if she knows where to look. It should terrify her, this invasion of privacy, this permanent connection. But instead, she finds it oddly comforting. She's never truly alone now. A thought strikes her. If she can feel them, can they feel her? As if in answer, that cool Nikolai presence in her mind shifts, acknowledging her attention. Not words exactly, just awareness. He knows she's thinking about him. Serafina finishes eating and decides to explore. She finds a bathroom attached to the bedroom. Massive, marble everywhere, a shower large enough for 4 people, and a bathtub that's practically a small pool. She runs the bath, adding salts from a crystal container, and sinks into water hot enough to make her gasp. The heat soothes her aching muscles. She closes her eyes, letting herself float. Tomorrow training begins. Mikhail will teach her combat. Katerina will educate her in vampire politics. She'll learn to navigate this world of immortal predators, and she'll continue serving the 9 lords who own her. She touches her neck where Katerina bit her. The mark has already healed to a faint silver scar. All 9 vampires left their marks. Neck, wrists, inner thighs, claiming bites that identify her as Volkov property. The water grows cold. Serafina climbs out, wrapping herself in a towel softer than anything she's ever owned. In the bedroom, she finds clothes laid out. Simple but elegant, expensive. She dresses and ventures into the hallway. The estate is even more impressive in daylight. High ceilings, artwork everywhere, windows that let in carefully filtered light enough for humans to see by, but not enough to harm vampires. Eventually, she finds a library, 3 stories tall, books lining every wall from floor to ceiling, ladders on rails to reach the higher shelves. Beautiful, isn't it? Serafina spins. Alexei sits in a leather chair near the window, a book open in his lap. She didn't even hear him enter. I didn't mean to intrude, she says. You're not intruding. This is your home now. He gestures to another chair. Please, sit. She perches on the edge of the seat, acutely aware that this man was inside her last night. Alexei seems to read her discomfort. Strange, isn't it, how quickly the relationship shifts? Last night you were beneath us, completely vulnerable. Today we're having a civilized conversation in the library. Very strange, she admits. It will get easier, Alexei says. The initial claiming is always the most intense. Going forward, our interactions will be more nuanced. Sometimes we'll want intimacy. Sometimes just conversation. Sometimes you'll serve us in other ways, managing the household, representing us to other vampires using whatever skills you develop. He closes his book. You asked for training. That was smart. Most thralls don't think that far ahead. They accept their fate, passively become shells of themselves. But you're fighting to remain human despite what we've done to you. Is that allowed? Serafina asks. Fighting to stay myself. Encouraged, actually. Alexei's smile is genuine. Nikolai values intelligence. All of us do. A mindless thrall is boring after the first century. A thrall who challenges us, surprises us, grows beyond what they were. That's interesting. He stands moving to a shelf, returns with a stack of books. Start with these: Vampire History, The 5 Great Covens of North America, Political Structures and Alliances. If you're going to navigate our world, you need to understand it. Serafina takes the books. Heavy, old, leather-bound volumes that smell like centuries. Why are you helping me? She asks. Because Alexei says I've lived 600 years. I've seen thousands of thralls come and go. And something about you is different. Nikolai feels it. We all do. You might become something more than just property. He leaves her alone with the books. Serafina spends the rest of the day reading. The history is fascinating in a terrible way. Vampires have been organizing themselves into covens for millennia. The 5 great North American covens control different territories. Volkov in the south, Constantine in the Midwest, Bordeaux in the northeast, Santiago in the southwest, Whitmore in the Pacific Northwest. They maintain an uneasy peace through treaties and councils. They feed on humans, but maintain secrecy above all. They convert new vampires sparingly, and they keep thralls. Humans bonded through blood and intimacy, serving vampire masters in exchange for protection and compensation. She's not the first, won't be the last. But maybe Alexei is right. Maybe she can become something more. Evening falls. Margaret brings dinner. Serafina eats alone in the library, surrounded by books. A knock at the door. Dmitri enters without waiting for permission. Nikolai wants you, he says. Not a request, a command. Serafina's stomach clenches. So soon Dmitri reads her expression. Not for that. He wants to discuss your training schedule. Come. She follows him through the estate to what must be Nikolai's private study. Dark wood, maps on the walls, a desk that looks like it survived the Renaissance. All 9 lords are gathered. They turn as she enters, and Serafina feels the weight of 9 ancient gazes assessing her. Serafina. Nikolai gestures to a chair. Sit, we need to establish expectations. She sits, hyper-aware that everyone in this room has claimed her. Nikolai remains standing. You asked for training in combat strategy and politics. We've discussed it. Here's what we propose: mornings with Mikhail learning self-defense and weapons. Afternoons with Katerina studying vampire court protocols and alliances. Evenings vary, sometimes with individual lords, sometimes attending council meetings, sometimes serving us intimately. He pauses. You will learn quickly or you will fail. We don't accept mediocrity. Understood. Understood, Serafina says. Good. Katerina steps forward. Your first test comes in 6 weeks. The Council of 5 Regions meets here. You'll represent us. Show them you're more than just pretty flesh. 6 weeks to learn everything, to transform from scared human to competent representative. It seems impossible. Can I do it, she asks. Yes, Nikolai says with certainty. You survived 9 vampires. You negotiated during your own auction. You have strength you haven't discovered yet. The meeting continues discussing specifics, training times, expectations, rules she must follow. By the end, Serafina's head spins with information. One more thing, Nikolai says as she's leaving. Come here. She approaches. He pulls her close, one hand tilting her face up. How do you feel about what happened last night? He asks quietly. Serafina considers lying, but his winter eyes see too much. Terrified, she admits. Overwhelmed, violated in ways I'm still processing. But also, she trails off. Also, Nikolai prompts, also alive. For the first time in years, I feel like I matter. Like I'm more than just the cursed girl everyone avoided. Nikolai's expression softens. You matter. You're ours now. That means something in our world. It means 9 immortal beings will protect you with everything we have. It means you'll never be discarded or forgotten. It means you have value beyond what you can imagine. He kisses her forehead, gentle, almost paternal. Rest well. Training begins at dawn. Dawn breaks over Volkov estate like a blade cutting through darkness. Serafina wakes to someone pounding on her door. Not knocking. Pounding. Up, Mikhail's voice carries through the door. Training starts in 10 minutes. Wear the clothes in your closet. Don't be late. She drags herself out of bed, every muscle protesting. The vampire wine helped yesterday, but she's still sore from the claiming. The closet contains workout clothes, fitted black pants, a sports tank top, lightweight shoes. Everything fits perfectly. She dresses quickly and finds her way to the training hall. The bond pulls her toward Mikhail like an invisible thread. The training hall is massive. Hardwood floors, mirrors on one wall, weapons mounted on the others, swords, daggers, staffs, things she doesn't have names for. Mikhail stands in the center, arms crossed. You're 2 minutes late, he says. I didn't know where all your excuses are weakness. Drop and give me 20 push-ups. Serafina stares at him. I just woke up. I'm still recovering from 30 now. Keep arguing and it becomes 50. She drops to the floor. Her arms shake on the first push-up. By the 10th, she's barely holding herself up. By the 20th, she collapses face first onto the hardwood. Pathetic, Mikhail says without heat. Just observation. But expected. You're human, weak, soft. 3 weeks from now, you'll do 50 without breaking a sweat. He pulls her to her feet. Vampires have enemies, rival covens, rogue vampires who don't respect territory, humans who hunt us. As our thrall, you're a target. Anyone who wants to hurt us will try to take you. So you learn to defend yourself or you die screaming. The bluntness shocks her into focus. First lesson, Mikhail continues. Awareness. Most humans walk through the world blind. You need to see everything, hear everything, feel when something is wrong. He circles her like a predator. Close your eyes. She obeys. I'm going to attack. Your job is to sense where I'm coming from and move. Serafina's heart pounds. She stands in darkness, listening. Where is he? Air displacement. She spins left just as Mikhail's hand passes through the space where her head was. Good on, he says. Again. They drill for 2 hours. Dodging. Blocking. Learning to read body language and air currents. Serafina fails more than she succeeds, but occasionally she surprises him. You have instincts, Mikhail admits as they finish. Raw, untrained, but there. We'll sharpen them. He tosses her a towel. Tomorrow, 6 a.m. Today you learned awareness. Tomorrow we start actual combat. Serafina showers and finds Katerina waiting in the hallway. My turn, the honey-voiced vampire says. Come, we have much to discuss. She leads Serafina to a sitting room decorated in rich burgundy and gold. Tea service laid out on a low table. Katerina settles onto a velvet sofa with practiced grace. Sit, she commands. Serafina sits. Katerina pours tea with practiced elegance. Mikhail teaches you to fight. I teach you to survive. In our world, politics is more dangerous than any blade. She hands Serafina a delicate china cup. The Council of 5 Regions meets here in 6 weeks. Representatives from Constantine, Bordeaux, Santiago, and Whitmore covens. They'll all want to assess you, judge whether the Volkovs have grown weak by taking a human thrall. Why does it matter what they think? Serafina asks. Because vampires respect strength above all else. Show weakness and they exploit it. They'll test you, insult you, try to provoke reactions. Katerina's eyes gleam. Your job is to prove you're an asset, not a liability. She sets down her tea. Tell me what you know about the five great covens. Serafina recites what she read yesterday. The territorial divisions, the uneasy peace. Katerina listens, then shakes her head. That's the official version. Now let me tell you the truth. For the next 3 hours, Katerina reveals the reality beneath vampire politics. Constantine controls the blood trade. Bordeaux maintains the oldest bloodlines. Santiago runs enforcement. Whitmore controls technology. And Volkov specializes in information. Spies, secrets, knowing things others want hidden. We're not the strongest militarily, Katerina explains. Santiago has more warriors. We're not the richest. Constantine controls more wealth. But we know everyone's vulnerabilities. That makes us invaluable. And dangerous, Serafina adds. Very. Katerina smiles. Which is why taking you was calculated. The auction house suspected you might have Oracle heritage. Rare bloodlines often manifest abilities. If you develop prophetic sight, you become the most valuable intelligence asset in North America. The words hit Serafina like ice water. Wait, you think I'm some kind of psychic? Your file mentioned visions, knowing things before they happen, sensing danger. Katerina studies her. Have you always had these experiences? Serafina thinks back. The car accident she foresaw saving her neighbor. The tornado she predicted, warning her town. Smaller things, knowing when Theron's fever would spike, sensing when someone was lying. Sometimes, she admits, but I thought everyone felt those things. No, sweet girl. That's Oracle blood. Dormant now, but it might awaken. Katerina leans forward, especially after bonding with 9 vampires. The claiming can trigger latent abilities. Margaret enters with lunch. They eat while Katerina continues the education teaching. Serafina proper forms of address for different vampire ranks, protocols for council meetings, the subtle art of insult and compliment in vampire society. By afternoon, Serafina's head spins with information. Enough for today, Katerina finally declares. Tomorrow we'll discuss specific vampires you'll meet at the council, their weaknesses, their pride points, how to navigate conversations without giving offense. The days blur into routine. Mornings with Mikhail learning combat, her body adapts faster than she expected. By the end of the first week, she can dodge most of his attacks. By the second week, she lands her first successful counterstrike. Better, Mikhail grunts as she sweeps his leg and sends him stumbling. You're learning to use your size against larger opponents. Good. Afternoons with Katerina absorbing vampire politics. She learns the difference between formal councils and private audiences. How to read body language. Which vampires are allies, which are enemies, which are neutral. Evenings vary. Sometimes she dines with individual lords, having quiet conversations. Ivan shares his poetry, surprisingly beautiful verses about snow and silence. Alexei discusses philosophy, debating consciousness and immortality. Anastasia shows her paintings hidden in a private gallery artwork that would make museums weep. Other evenings are more intimate. Not the overwhelming intensity of the claiming, but careful explorations. Nikolai summons her to his chambers and spends hours mapping her responses. Svetlana claims her in the library, cold and clinical but thorough. Natasha takes her in the gardens under moonlight, wild and hungry. The bond strengthens. Serafina can feel all 9 constantly now, their emotions coloring the edges of her consciousness. Nikolai's cool control. Dimitri's barely restrained violence. Ivan's steady warmth. 3 weeks after the claiming, something shifts. Serafina is training with Mikhail when a vision hits her like lightning to the skull. Blood on stone. Screaming. A caravan of vehicles ambushed on a dark road. Humans dying while vampires drain them dry. The images flash through her mind in rapid sequence, overwhelming her senses. She collapses mid-strike. Mikhail catches her before she hits the floor. What's wrong? Vision, she gasps. Attack. 20 miles south. Rogue vampires hitting a blood supply caravan. Mikhail's eyes narrow. When now, happening now. He doesn't question how she knows, just pulls out his phone and calls Nikolai. She's having a vision. Rogues attacking the southern supply route. Through the bond, Serafina feels Nikolai's sharp attention snap toward her. Then his voice in her mind, not words but intent. Show me. She doesn't know how, but she pushes the images toward that cool Nikolai presence in her head. The location, the vehicles, the rogues tearing through security. 20 miles south on Highway 23, Mikhail relays. 6 rogues, they've already killed the human drivers. Nikolai's response is immediate. Take a team, now. Mikhail sets Serafina down gently. Stay here, lock the door, don't leave until someone comes for you. He's gone in seconds. Serafina sits on the training room floor shaking. The vision fades, but the certainty remains. She saw it, knew it was happening, warned them in time. An hour later, Mikhail returns with Dmitri and 4 vampire warriors. They're covered in blood, none of it theirs. Dmitri carries a human woman in his arms. She's unconscious, but breathing. You were right, Mikhail says, looking at Serafina with new respect. 6 rogues. They'd killed 2 drivers and were feeding on the others when we arrived. We saved 3 humans, killed the rogues. She actually saw it, Dmitri asks. Saw it happening in real time, Mikhail confirms. Oracle site, active and accurate. The news spreads through the estate like wildfire. By evening, all 9 lords gather in Nikolai's study with Serafina at the center. Tell us exactly what you experienced. Nikolai commands. Serafina describes the vision, how it felt like lightning. How the images flooded her mind without warning. How she absolutely knew that it was happening in that moment. An elderly vampire Serafina hasn't met before enters the study. She moves with the careful grace of extreme age, her white hair pulled back severely, her eyes sharp as cut glass. This is Lydia Corvinus, Nikolai introduces. She's been with our coven for 400 years, expert in bloodlines and rare abilities. Lydia circles Serafina like a hawk examining prey. Let me see your eyes. Serafina looks up. Lydia stares into them for a long moment, then inhales sharply. Moon-blessed, she whispers. I thought the line extinct. The last confirmed oracle died in 1724. Explain, Nikolai demands. Lydia's hands shake slightly as she steps back. Oracles are humans born with divine sight, blessed by the moon goddess herself, or so the legends claim. They can see past, present, and future, sense threats miles away, find hidden enemies, read true intentions. She looks at Serafina with something approaching reverence. They're impossibly rare and impossibly valuable. Wars have been fought over oracles, entire covens destroyed trying to claim one. Is she dangerous? Svetlana asked clinically. To us, no. To our enemies. Lydia's smile is cold. Absolutely. If her power fully awakens, she'll be the most valuable intelligence asset in vampire history. Nikolai's winter eyes fix on Serafina. Can you control it? Call visions deliberately. I don't know, Serafina admits. It just happened. Then we train it, Lydia declares. Starting tomorrow, I'll teach her to harness the sight, control when it comes, focus it where needed. The next 3 weeks transform into intense oracle training alongside combat and politics. Lydia is a harsh teacher, pushing Serafina to the edge of exhaustion daily. Visions require a meditative state, Lydia explains. You must quiet your mind completely. Let the sight flow through you rather than forcing it. They practice in a specially prepared room. Soundproofed, dark, isolated. Serafina sits for hours learning to still her thoughts, to open herself to impressions. The first controlled vision comes a week into training. Lydia asks her to find a missing vampire from a neutral coven. Serafina closes her eyes, breathes deep, reaches for that electric feeling. Images flood in. A vampire chained in a basement, starved, tortured. Location markers flash through her mind, a warehouse-specific street signs, a dock number. Warehouse district. Serafina gasps. Dock 47, basement level. He's chained with silver. Starving. Lydia sends the information to Nikolai. A rescue team deploys. They find the vampire exactly where Serafina said, exactly as she described. Her accuracy is perfect, unnervingly perfect. You're not just oracle touched, Lydia tells her after the 3rd successful controlled vision. You're potentially the strongest oracle born in 3 centuries. Your sight is crystal clear. No ambiguity, no symbolic interpretation needed. You see truth. The realization settles over the estate like a heavy blanket. Serafina isn't just a thrall anymore. She's an asset, a weapon, something worth protecting at any cost. The 9 lords become more possessive, more protective. She's never alone now. Always a vampire nearby, always someone watching. 6 weeks after the claiming the Council of 5 Regions arrives. Serafina stands in the grand hall wearing a dress that Katerina selected, deep blue silk that complements her pale coloring. Hair styled elegantly, makeup subtle but perfect. She looks like she belongs among vampires even though her heartbeat gives away her humanity. The visiting covens arrive in formal procession. First comes Bordeaux, 3 vampires in expensive suits moving with aristocratic grace. Then Santiago warriors all scarred and dangerous. Whitmore sends two vampires who look barely out of their 20s but carry themselves with ancient authority. And finally, Constantine. Four vampires led by an elder who radiates power. He's ancient, older than Nikolai, perhaps older than anyone in the room except Lydia. Silver hair, sharp features, eyes that have witnessed empires crumble. Elder Constantine, Nikolai greets him formally. Welcome to Volkov House. Constantine's gaze sweeps the hall and lands on Serafina. Stops. Assesses. An albino thrall, he says, voice dripping contempt. How quaint. Your standards have fallen to Nikolai. The insult hangs in the air. Every vampire in the hall goes still. This is the test Katerina warned about. How Serafina responds determines how she'll be treated going forward. She steps forward before Nikolai can speak, before any of the lords can defend her. This thrall, she says clearly, sensed the rogue attack on your southern border last month, the one your scouts missed. 20 humans saved because I saw what your people didn't. Constantine's eyes narrow. Serafina continues, voice steady despite her hammering hard. This thrall has oracle sight, active, accurate. I can find your enemies, predict their movements, expose their plans. What exactly have your standards accomplished lately, Elder Constantine? Silence, absolute silence. Then Nikolai laughs, low, genuine. She has you there, old friend. Constantine stares at Serafina for a long moment. Then impossibly he smiles. Oracle sight, truly. Lydia Corvinus has verified it? Nikolai confirms. Moon-blessed bloodline, first confirmed oracle in nearly 300 years. The atmosphere in the hall shifts instantly. Contempt transforms to calculation. The visiting vampires look at Serafina with new eyes, not as a thrall, but as a strategic asset. Then perhaps, Constantine says slowly, we should discuss alliance terms. An oracle of her caliber could benefit all 5 regions. She belongs to Volkov, Dmitri growls. Of course, Constantine raises placating hands. I merely suggest information sharing for mutual benefit. The council meeting extends for hours. Serafina stands beside Nikolai as they negotiate terms. She says little, but when asked direct questions, she answers with the confidence Katerina taught her. They want a demonstration. Proof she's truly oracle. Very well, Constantine says. Tell me something impossible to know. Something that proves your sight is genuine. Serafina closes her eyes, reaches for that electric feeling. Visions flood in Constantine's private chambers, secret meetings, hidden deals. You're negotiating with European vampires, she says quietly, trying to arrange a marriage alliance between your grandson and a Venetian noble house. The contract is almost complete. You're offering territorial concessions in the Great Lakes region in exchange for their support against Santiago expansion. Constantine's face goes pale. How did you, Oracle Sight, seize truth? Serafina opens her eyes. All truth, even secrets you thought safely hidden. Every vampire in the hall now looks at her with mixture of fear and hunger. She's too valuable, too dangerous, too perfect. The demonstration is complete, Nikolai says coldly, and now you all understand why we claimed her. Why we'll protect her with everything we have. She's ours. Anyone who tries to take her will face all 9 Volkov lords in battle. The threat is clear, absolute. The council meeting concludes with new treaties, information sharing agreements, defensive pacts, all centered around maintaining access to Serafina's oracle site. When the visiting covens finally leave, Nikolai pulls Serafina into his study. You were magnificent, he says. You faced down Elder Constantine without flinching. Proved your value beyond any doubt. The entire council now knows you're not just a thrall, you're integral to Volkov power. I exposed his secrets, Serafina says. Won't that make him hate us? No, it makes him respect us. Fear us slightly. Nikolai's smile is sharp. Fear and respect are more valuable than friendship in vampire politics. He cups her face gently. You've become exactly what I hoped. More even. In 6 weeks, you've transformed from terrified auction prize to oracle warrior who stares down ancient vampires. I had good teachers, Serafina says. You had courage we couldn't teach. Nikolai kisses her forehead. For tonight, you've earned it. But rest doesn't come. That night, a vision strikes harder than any before. Serafina jolts awake, silver light pouring from her skin. Her eyes glow pure white. The goddess power floods through her like electricity through water. She sees everything. Past the moon-blessed line, stretching back millennia. Oracles guiding vampires and humans alike. Her ancestors sacrificing everything to protect both species. Present threats gathering in the shadows. A vampire in Chicago planning something terrible. Humans being gathered for dark purposes. A conspiracy that reaches into multiple covens. Future blood and fire. Battle. A choice she'll have to make. Victory or death balanced on a knife's edge. The vision releases her suddenly. She collapses back onto the bed, gasping. Through the bond, all 9 lords feel her distress. Within minutes, they're all in her room. What did you see? Nikolai demands. Serafina's voice shakes as she describes it. The conspiracy, the threat. The vampire in Chicago who's planning something that could destroy the careful peace between covens. Victor Constantine, Lydia says grimly, appearing in the doorway. Elder Constantine's grandfather. 900 years old, powerful, ruthless. If he's moving against the peace accords, then we need to know his plan, Nikolai finishes, before he can execute it. All eyes turn to Serafina. Can you find him? Katerina asks. Track his movements through Oracle sight. Serafina closes her eyes again, reaching for the vision. This time it comes easier. She sees Victor in a warehouse. 17 humans chained. 3 of them glow with the same silver light that pours from her skin when her power activates. Other oracles. He's collecting oracles. He's building a network, Serafina gasps, harvesting oracle blood, trying to create artificial seers for the black market. 17 humans captive. 3 are oracles like me. The room explodes into action. Nikolai barks orders. Dmitri and Mikhail mobilize warriors. Katerina contacts allied covens. You're coming with us, Nikolai says to Serafina. What? No, I'm not trained for Tinan. You're the only one who can find them, Dmitri interrupts. Your sight will guide us to the exact location we need you. Serafina's heart hammers, but she thinks of those 3 oracles. Girls like her, captured, drained, used. Then let's go save them, she says. The warehouse in Baton Rouge reeks of blood and terror. Serafina's oracle sight guides them through the darkness. She can feel the captive oracles like beacons in her mind, their fear and pain pulling her forward. There, she points to a steel door. Basement level, 17 humans, 3 oracles. Dmitri and Mikhail move first vampire speed, carrying them through the door. The sounds of fighting erupt. Screams, snarls. The wet sound of fangs tearing through flesh. Nikolai stays with Serafina, protective. When we secure the area, you help free the captives. Understand. She nods. The battle is over in minutes. Victor's enforcers are no match for Volkov warriors. They find Victor himself trying to escape through a back tunnel. Dmitri drags him back, golden eyes blazing with fury. You traffic in oracles. Nikolai says, voice colder than Serafina has ever heard it. You violate the oldest laws. You threaten the peace. She's mine, Victor snarls, lunging towards Serafina. Moonblessed belongs to whoever claims her first. Serafina doesn't think. She just moves. Mikhail's training takes over. She sidesteps Victor's lunge, grabs the silver blade from Dmitri's belt, and drives it into Victor's chest. Not deep enough to kill a 900-year-old vampire, but deep enough to drop him to his knees. I belong to Volkov, Serafina says, silver light beginning to glow from her skin. And I am no one's property. I am partner. I am oracle. I am warrior. The light intensifies. Her eyes go pure white. The goddess power floods through her, and this time she doesn't fight it. She sees Victor's past, every crime, every betrayal, every human he's tortured. Guilty, she pronounces, and the word echoes with divine authority. Condemned. Nikolai steps forward and removes Victor's head with one clean strike. The other captives are freed. 17 humans stumbling into the night, trauma-shocked but alive. The 3 oracles cluster around Serafina, recognizing her as kin. You're safe now, Serafina tells them. Volkov Coven will protect you, will train you, you'll never be used again. 3 months later, Serafina stands on the balcony of Volkov Estate overlooking the grounds. Her hand rests on her flat stomach where twin heartbeats flutter. The bond tells her 1 boy, 1 girl. Both will be oracles. The 9 lords gather around her. Nikolai's hand covers hers on her belly. Our heirs, he murmurs. Serafina thinks of how far she's come. From cursed outcast to oracle queen. From auction prize to matriarch of the most powerful vampire coven in North America. The 3 rescued oracles train in the estate now. Morgan, Freya, and Celeste. Learning to control their gifts. Building their strength. And yesterday, Serafina attended another auction. Not as victim this time. As savior. She found Isadora Brennan on that platform. 19 years old, Irish-American, terrified, selling herself for her mother's heart transplant. Nikolai bid $50 million without hesitation. Now Isadora sleeps in a guest room, healing from her own claiming ceremony. Tomorrow, Serafina will begin teaching her what it means to be Volkov. what it means to transform from victim to something powerful. Any regrets? Nikolai asks, his winter eyes soft in the moonlight. Serafina looks at her 9 vampire lords, feels the bond humming between them, touches the children growing inside her, thinks of the oracles she's saving, the conspiracy she helped destroy, the power she's claimed. None, she says. I was bought for $60 million, claimed by 9 vampires. They broke me open and remade me into something stronger. She looks at the full moon rising over New Orleans. From cursed outcast to oracle queen, from victim to matriarch, from property to partner. My body could take more, my heart could hold more, my soul could love more, and I have eternity to prove it. All 9 lords kneel before her, not in submission, in reverence. Our oracle, Nikolai says. Our queen, our beloved, Serafina. Right, moon-blessed oracle warrior matriarch, mother stands with her 9 vampire lords beneath the full moon. The claiming was just the beginning. The real story. It's only just started, and she has forever to write it.